Hello, in this video, I'm going to show you how to access your stored statistics in your calculator. I'm going to use question number 14 from MyLab 3.2, which is question label 3.2.7. Listed below are the top 10 annual salaries in millions of dollars for TV personalities. We're going to find the range, variance, and standard deviation of the data of the sample data. Given that these are the top 10 salaries, do we know anything about the variation of the salaries of TV personalities in general? So the first part, we're just finding the range of the sample data, and that would be the maximum minus the minimum. So looking at the data here, the highest number that we see is 41, and that's 41 million. So I'm going to say 41. And I'm going to subtract the minimum number that I see, which looking here, it looks like 12.4. So 41 minus 12.4. That will give me the range. And we get a range of 28.6. For the next part of the problem, we're going to find the variance and the standard deviation. We have to use our calculators to do this, and to find the variance, we actually square the standard deviation. So we're going to go ahead and do the standard deviations first, and then square it to get the variance. In our calculator, we're going to go to Stat, and then under Edit, we're going to type in all of the numbers from the list. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We'll type in 41. Enter, 40, enter, and so on until we have all the numbers in. Once you have your data list, check to make sure there are no typos or missing numbers. Now, we'll go to Stat, over to Calc, and you'll do your 1var stat. We put our data in list 1, so make sure that says L1. Frequency we didn't use, and now calculate. So you have your statistics, and we need to find the standard deviation. Remember, we have sample standard deviation and we have population standard deviation. Since we do not have the data for all of the celebrity personalities' annual salaries, this would be sample data. So we use S sub x is 12.078672666, and it goes on and on and on, but we're asked to round to 2 decimal places. So we'd use 12.08 million as our answer for the standard deviation. Now, to find the variance, we square the standard deviation. Now, some of you may have come up with an issue when you went to square 12.08 and you put your answer for the variance in on MyLab and it told you were wrong due to rounding. Well, that's because we want to avoid rounding in the middle of a problem. How can we do this? Well, one way is we can definitely try to go out more decimal places than just the 2 when we do our squaring. Another way is we can store values in our calculator. And whenever we calculate 1var stats, our values are actually stored for us. So what we can do now is we can press vars, and you can go ahead down to number 5, which is statistics. And we just used S sub x for our sample standard deviation. So you can press the number 3. And that gives us our stored value for standard deviation that we just calculated. So we can simply square that number and we'll get 145.89. When you type in your answer on MyLab, that is the correct answer. However, if we had simply done 12.08 and squared it, we're off by a little bit. We get 145.93 when we round to 2 decimal places. So it's important to use stored values. Once again, if you have just done 1var stat, your stored values will be under vars, and then you go down to statistics and find the symbol you're looking for. If in your calculator you just want to store a value from another calculation you've done, say I did 456 divided by 98, and I needed that in a calculation later for something I was doing, I could simply go on my calculator. It says STO. It's above the on button on the left, and I can store in any letter. You want to avoid storing in X, T, this symbol right here because it will mess you up later on. But what you can do is you can press alpha and you could store, say I want A. I look for the green A and that's A. So then next time I need to use that number, I'll have it. So say I want to take my A and I want to subtract 10 from it. A minus 10 here would be 4.653, etc., minus 10, giving me negative 5.34. So once again, you can store values, any value in your calculator, by going STO and then pressing alpha and then a number. And you can overwrite these numbers. So if I put something else in alpha A, it will overwrite it, and that will be what's stored there. But for statistics, we can press vars and go to 5 statistics, and any statistics that we've previously calculated using our 1var stat, the symbol for it, the numbers will be stored there. I hope you find this helpful.